Everyone, it's Kenji. I'm here in the International District in Seattle on a beautiful spring day. We're doing a little walking tour. I don't know how many stops we're going to get to, but hopefully, a half dozen or so. First stop is Mike's Noodle House. This is a real old school Hong Kong style noodle shop. So they've got two things on the menu. They got noodles, wonton noodles, real thin, kind of chewy, bouncy noodles, and congee, and that's it. And you can get them with various things inside them. I've been here for the congee before. I've had the regular wonton noodle soup before, but today when I came in alone, and there was another person, a nice lady outside who was also alone, and so we got seated together. She told me she's been a regular here for over 20 years, and she recommended that I get the wonton noodle soup with the sui kai and beef tendon. So I got that, and it was really good. So the broth here, it's a sort of seafood and beefy seafood kind of dark broth that's really well seasoned. The noodles are nice and bouncy. The sui kai are, they're sort of like larger, not quite wontons, but larger sort of dumplings that are wrapped in a really thin wrapper that gets nice and tender. And inside them is pork, shrimp, and I believe mushrooms, maybe some kind of dark mushroom in there. She was right on the money as far as the beef tendon goes. I don't know if beef tendon is everyone's jam, but I love it. I love the way the collagen in beef tendon gets really nice and gelatinous and tender. Mike's Noodle House is cash only, so make sure you bring some cash. A lot of these spots around here are going to be cash only. All right, we're going to head on to our next stop. Stop number 2, Tai Tung. Anybody who's been to Seattle knows this place, or who's been to the International District knows this place. It's the oldest Chinese restaurant in Seattle, opened in 1935, continuously operated by the same family. Harry, the current proprietor, is the grandson of the original owner, and his daughter now works here as well. This is real old school Chinese American food, so the kind of food that Cantonese immigrants, mainly the first wave of Chinese immigrants, developed when they were in the US in order to deal with local ingredients and local tastes. So classic dishes like oyster sauce beef and beef chow fun. When this restaurant opened in 1935, it was towards the end of the Chinese Exclusion Act, and so the reason there are so many of these Chinese restaurants is because it was one of the few businesses that Chinese immigrants could actually own and operate at the time, and because of that, they also tend to be sort of multi-generational family restaurants. This was Bruce Lee's favorite restaurant. He had his own booth in here. Anthony Bourdain has written about this place. I got a couple things here, some classic Chinese American things. So I got the oyster sauce beef, which is their signature dish. It's a stir fried beef and onion dish with a sort of thick oyster sauce based sauce, nice and salty and tender. I got the honey walnut prawns, which are a sort of later Chinese American staple. So they're deep fried crispy shrimp that are tossed in a mayo and honey based sauce with crispy candied walnuts. And finally, I got the beef chow fun here, which is my favorite version of beef chow fun in the city. Very, very simple. So all it is here is rice noodles, steamed rice noodles, hor fun noodles that are stir fried with soy sauce, bean sprouts, and beef. But the real key, beef chow fun is one of those dishes where it's a real test of the skill of the chef because it's such a simple dish, and the main seasoning in it is wok hei, so the nice smoky flavor of the wok. And you can tell when you taste this that there is a real hot smoky wok back in the kitchen here. It's a real time capsule of early Chinese American restaurants. All right, let's move on. Stop number 3 is Ringo Curry. So Ringo means apple in Japanese. This is a pretty typical Japanese curry house. So they do curry rice, they do katsu with curry, and they do omelets. This place was a food truck. It turned into a brick and mortar in 2024, so relatively new in the International District. We got the pork katsu with rice and Japanese omelet and medium spice curry sauce. The pork katsu, the panko that they use here are really nice and craggy, well fried, really crispy. The pork itself is a thick pork cutlet, which is nice and juicy. When I was growing up, my grandmother made a lot of pork katsu, and the pork katsu that I grew up eating was smashed thin, so pounded thin and then kind of really roughed up with the back of a knife so that you got these really nice crags in it. Modern katsu curry feels like, modern katsu seems to be more frequently a bigger cut, like a full unsmashed pork cutlet. I'm not mad about that. I could do it either way. I think when I make it at home, I tend to smash them out so that they're thinner. But this one was great, really nice and juicy, really well seasoned. The curry sauce is excellent. Medium spice is as advertised, medium spicy. I doubt that they get much hotter than that. They only have 3 levels. And the omelet was nice and gooey and juicy. Good rice too. All right, Ringo Curry, stop number 3, and we are going to move on. Stop number 4 is Honey Court Seafood. So this is a place that's been around since the 90s. It's more of like a modern style Cantonese slash Hong Kong seafood and dim sum place. So it's the kind of place that has live tanks of seafood. We walked in, they got a big old snow crab in there, but it was just Lena and I, so I don't think we'll have to come back here with a big group. But it reminded me when I was younger, my dad and my sisters and I used to go to this restaurant in Boston called East Ocean City, which was from around the same generation, opened in the 90s, and was sort of a modern seafood place. And we used to go there and get either snow crab or lobster stir-fried with ginger and scallions. So that's what we got this time. We got a lobster, the smallest lobster they had, which is still pretty big, a 2-pound lobster stir-fried with ginger and scallions. I love this preparation. It comes with all the, comes in the shell, but super, super fresh, really tender, a little bit sweet, nice and gingery. There was a couple of Hawaiian dudes sitting next to us at the table next to us. So since this is a 5 or 6 stop tour, we only had a couple bites of the lobster, but they appreciated receiving the rest of that lobster. We also couldn't leave without trying some dim sum, so we got some of the crystal shrimp dumplings, which were chewy and chewy skins, stretchy skins, nice poppy shrimp. Honey Court, good place to come with a big group. They're also open very late. This is my first time here, so I haven't tried everything else, but that lobster was great. All right, we're gonna go on. All right, so stop number 5. This day keeps getting more and more beautiful, by the way, but stop number 5 is Fuji Bakery. So, they specialize in shokupan, and they make, other stuff too, but shokupan is what I generally get there in sando form. They were out of their katsu, which is my normal order, but they did have a BLT. This looks like a proper amount of mayo. First of all, you can see that mayo there. And also a proper amount of lettuce. Look at that. It's like a big crunchy lettuce sandwich. This is one of those things where if you're used to a more American style BLT where it's assembled fresh and the bacon is like really crunchy, this is not that. This style of Japanese sandwich, they're pretty much always pre-made and wrapped. So everything in there, whether it's katsu or bacon or whatever, is going to lose its texture. The lettuce provides plenty of crunch, but the bacon isn't. The bacon has like a kind of, I don't know. I think it's like a pleasant flavor, nice chewiness. I like that. Also got a crunchy cream malasada. So they do a bunch of different malasadas, which are these stuffed donuts. The crunchy cream has cornflakes on the outside and pastry cream on the inside. And they're crunchy and delicious. All right. Maybe the last stop? I'm not sure. We'll see. Oh, no. I think there's still a couple more stops. This is the food court at Uwajimaya. Uwajimaya is a Japanese supermarket. They've got a few branches around Seattle, but I think this is their biggest one. And there's a full food court here. They've got like Indian food and Thai food and Mexican food and Hawaiian food and Vietnamese food and poke and all kinds of stuff. But I came here for the taiyaki. So taiyaki is like a real old school Japanese snack. It's essentially like a pancake cooked in the shape of a sea bream, stuffed with red bean paste. I used to get these when I was a kid. There was a Japanese supermarket right across the river, right across the George Washington in New Jersey from where we lived. And we would go there and get these at the food court there. I loved them then, and I'm a big fan of them now. So sweet adzuki bean paste inside. See? Slightly savory pancake. Maybe it's more like a waffle than a pancake, but what do they call this place? It's called Bean Fish. It is what it is. They also do like a crazy number of other stuffing. So they've got savory ones, so you can get like bacon and cheese in there. You can get like Nutella and strawberries. Right now they have a special called the Donkey Kong, which is banana and custard. Anyway, taiyaki, if you've never had it, real traditional Japanese snack. They do it pretty well here. It's crispy, good flavor. All right, I guess we have some more stops to go. Stop number 7. This was EJ Pakmore, which is a Thai street food place. They specialize in steamed rice noodles that they do in various forms. So you can get them cut into vermicelli and served with sauces. You can get them cut into vermicelli and then wrapped around a filling. The ones that we got were the wide rice noodles that are kind of wrapped around a pork and mushroom filling. They're kind of jiggly and stretchy and delicious. You dip them into like a green sauce, and then we also got the fried pork belly, which is, you know, it's similar to like chicharron. So they take pork belly, deep fry it till it's crispy and juicy, and then you dip it into like a sweet and sour and spicy dipping sauce. They've got a whole bunch of other things here as well, but those are the things that I like. All right, moving on.
Shake it.
All right, our last stop is the Boat, which is part of the Phobac family of restaurants. So Phobac is, they have their soup shop up here. So this used to be the original Phobac location. So currently run by Yenvi Pham, who is, there are, you know, her and her sister and her brother, their parents opened up Phobac originally in 1980 something. This used to be a sub shop, like a sandwich shop. So when the family came here from Vietnam, they opened up a sub shop because they thought that's what folks here would want to eat. But then they were convinced by their Vietnamese neighbors and community to open up a pho shop, and so they did. And now they make some of the best pho in Seattle. Yenvi and her siblings, they've made a bunch of changes. So now what was the original Phobac, the Boat here, because it's shaped like a boat, is now a chicken place that does. You know, I always forget that when I'm thinking about fried chicken places in the city, I always forget that this is fried chicken, and it is like one of the best fried chickens you can get. Well, it's actually a fried game hen, but they fry it in a pressure fryer. Comes out extremely crispy. It's tossed in like a sort of fish sauce, sugar, garlicky, like super garlicky fried garlic thing. You can get it either with noodles or with turmeric rice. And then I'd never had them before, but this time we tried some of their waffles, which are also, I think, some of the best waffles in the city. Like super, super crispy, really light, a little bit stretchy. They've got mochiko flour in there and tapioca flour, so a little bit stretchy. They come in banana and pandan flavors. And then there's also like a coconut, like a whipped salted coconut thing that you spread on them. It's delicious. All right, the Boat. So yeah, that is the end of our tour. What was it, 7 or 8 places? I don't know. It was a bunch of places. Yeah, come do it. All right, guys, gals, down by your pals. See you later. Hey everyone, I don't know if you know this, but I keep an ongoing list of all of my favorite places in Seattle to eat. I update it monthly, and it's all over on my Apple Maps, my Let's Eat Apple Maps. So you can find the link below in the description or on my link tree. So if you're looking for a place to eat in Seattle, you can find all of my recommendations right there.